Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on Our News, over $1 million spent on blatant political prosecutions. The Ministry of Education to begin hybrid learning in January. And the PM speaks out on the shocking death of a 4-year-old girl. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, Prime Minister Philip Davis calling the death of a 4-year-old girl deeply distressing, adding the incident stirs up disbelief, revulsion, and profound sadness. He says this issue goes far beyond what our laws can achieve. Jillian Gray reports.
Disbelief, revulsion, and profound sadness.
Distressing and sad is how Prime Minister Philip Davis described the assault and death of a 4-year-old girl. He says he's spoken to the family and wants the community to rally together.
As we grieve with her family and do all that we can to ensure that justice is served, let us honor her memory. Let us find ways to cherish how she lived, that her name means more than just the way that she died. Let us do all that we can to ensure that no other child suffers the same fate. It goes far beyond what our laws can achieve.
According to police, a man and woman were arrested after the child was taken to Princess Margaret Hospital unresponsive on Friday. She had sustained several injuries to her body, prompting officials to label her death suspicious, with the cause to be determined after autopsy. The incident has sparked widespread outrage.
There are those in every society whose transgressions defy comprehension. Our job is to do what is necessary to prevent it. Never again should this be allowed to happen.
Minister of State for Social Services Lisa Ramming said workers will be on the ground reaching out to residents.
There are measures that you can take if you feel like a child or somebody is being abused. Call our Child Protection Unit, call our emergency hotline, call the police, even if you don't want to be involved.
The ministry is expected to launch a nationwide education campaign on what residents can do if they suspect a child is being abused. This as former chairman of the Child Protection Council, Pastor Gil Maycock, calls it a vile, despicable, and inhumane act that should rally the country to action. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
In other news, the failed prosecutions of former Cabinet Minister Shane Gibson and former PLP Senator Frank Smith cost the government a whopping $1.1 million, according to Attorney General Ryan Pinder. Jasmine Brown reports.
The startling figure was revealed by the Attorney General weeks after he was continuously hounded by the press to reveal that figure.
The former Attorney General spent $807,755.87 of the Bahamian taxpayer dollars with foreign lawyers on the prosecution of Shane Gibson, and $290,903 on the prosecution of Frank Smith. 2 political prosecutions that failed. Added together, Madam Speaker, the former government spent approximately $1.1 million on failed political prosecutions.
The Attorney General also revealed that what was spent on the Gibson and Smith trials was more than a quarter of what the Minutes administration spent with foreign law firms in the last 4 years.
Between November 2017 and August 2021, the Office of the Attorney General, under the prior Attorney General, spent some $3,457,688 in legal fees with its 2 primary foreign law firms in the United States and the United Kingdom. This isn't really an alarming number, as the government of the Bahamas has the need to source legal advice from all over the world. And these 2 law firms are long-standing law firms of the Bahamian government. What is alarming, Madam President, is the amount of funds expended on the failed political prosecutions.
While in opposition, Prime Minister Philip Davis repeatedly called on the Minnis administration to come clean concerning how much it paid foreign Queen's counsels to assist with its prosecution of Shane Gibson and Frank Smith. Both men were cleared of all charges. Pinder also lashed out at his predecessor and claimed former Attorney General Carl Bethel dropped the ball.
If I had made the decisions in the private sector that my predecessor did while he was the Attorney General, I would most definitely be found to have committed malpractice and certainly would have been fired by my clients.
Pinder also addressed what he termed the controversial hiring of non-Bahamian senior lawyers in the Department of Public Prosecutions, positions he says Bahamians are more than qualified to fill. Pinder says he has requested that the Judicial and Legal Services Commission terminate these contracts. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Amid a steady decline in COVID-19 cases nationwide, the Ministry of Education is moving forward with plans for a hybrid format in January. Giorgio Bain reports.
Reopening of classrooms nationwide, including New Providence, will take place in the second week of January 2022.
Minister of Education Glenys Hanna Martin announcing that thousands of students will return to the classroom in January, adding the ministry will initially use the hybrid model. However, she noted that several schools will not be ready for the resumption of face-to-face learning in early January.
L.W. Young Junior High, where they are undergoing structural repairs, electrical and plumbing work, and building works. Yellow Elder Primary, which is undergoing structural and building works. Sybil Strawn Primary, which is undergoing roof installation, electrical and building works. Ridgeland Primary, which is undergoing structural repairs, building repairs, electrical installations, window installations.
Uriah McPhee, S.E. McPherson, C.W. Sawyer, and Carlton E. Francis Primary School were also listed.
It's just that 6 weeks is a very short time to get the work done. Presently, the Ministry of Works is working on putting together a program that can facilitate repairs year-round.
Hanna Martin says the ministry is devising alternate plans to facilitate in-person learning for students at those schools. Deputy Permanent Secretary Donovan Turnquist shed light on the price tag for school repairs, as well as what caused delays.
Total cost of repairs would be somewhere upward of $20 million. Yes, it's in the budget, and additional funding is also required because when construction starts, there are unforeseen things that come up.
Today's news conference comes amid widespread concerns over the impact the COVID-19 pandemic is having on the country's education system. Officials have revealed that 30% of public school students were not attending classes on the online learning platform. Reporting for our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Chief Medical Advisor to the United States President, Dr. Anthony Fauci, warning that the chances of getting COVID-19 if unvaccinated is 6 times greater than if you were vaccinated. He's also stressing the importance of the COVID-19 vaccine. Bethany McDermott reports.
With many still on the fence about taking the COVID-19 vaccine, Chief Medical Advisor to the President of the United States, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says the chances of getting COVID-19 and dying is 10 times greater if unvaccinated. His comments come after former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands asserted vaccinations in the country are still too low.
If you are vaccinated versus unvaccinated, you have about a 6 times greater chance of getting infected if you're unvaccinated compared to vaccinated. You have over a 10 times greater chance of getting hospitalized and over a 10 times greater chance of dying if you are unvaccinated.
Just over 136,200 Bahamians are fully vaccinated, while 138,073 have received 1 dose, according to the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Well, AstraZeneca was not FDA approved because they didn't apply for approval. So it's tough to approve. So it's very simple. It's tough to give approval if you don't apply for approval.
Dr. Fauci appeared as a guest on Guardian Radio's Morning Blend with host Dwight Strawn. Last month, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention approved boosters for individuals 18 years and older with long-term care settings, underlying medical conditions, and those high risk. Dr. Fauci explains that multiple doses for vaccines aren't out of the ordinary.
Same way with childhood vaccines. When we get measles, mumps, rubella, all of those vaccines, they're always multiple doses. So the idea that you require 2 or 3 or more doses is not unusual for vaccines. That doesn't tell you that the vaccines are not effective. What it does tell you, to get maximal efficacy, you may need a regimen that would require multiple doses.
Since then, drug makers like Pfizer have announced that they are working on antiviral drugs for COVID-19. However, Dr. Fauci stressed that the treatment will only help those infected and sought early treatment. He said this in no way signifies the end of vaccines or the pandemic.
If you want to end an outbreak, you have to stop getting infected. And you do that with a combination of vaccines and mitigation methods such as wearing masks in appropriate situations.
All right, so that will not mean the end of the vaccines. We still will
absolutely
be required to get vaccines.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Fauci could not say how much longer the pandemic will go on for. However, he did say officials are expecting a global decrease in COVID-19 cases by spring of next year. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Cloudy conditions tonight. Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with the latest.
Thanks, Christina. Our first look at weather tonight is being brought to you by Ports International, trusted medical supplies for a better quality of life. Nice conditions outside our studios, temperatures in the upper 70s, very comfortable, partly cloudy skies, a little bit on the breezy side, your winds out of the northeast at 11 knots. And your feels like temperature, very comfortable, 80 degrees on the outside. Satellite view, we have 2 boundaries, one clipping the central Bahamas, extending into the Atlantic, stationary front across the southeast Bahamas, both expected to merge overnight. But that should pave the way for some nice improving conditions across the islands tonight through tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, the PM sheds light on post office plans and what prompted dozens of Sandilands workers to protest. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
More than 2 years after the General Post Office relocated to the Town Center Mall, the Prime Minister discussed the likelihood of the government breaking the controversial lease. He sat down with Vonnie Ktoot.
This report is brought to you by EY, building a better working world.
Whether we break the lease or not, there are consequences to when a government enters into an arrangement. We'll have to look at the costs, or whether we'll have to consider all the circumstances.
If it is too costly to break the government's lease with the owners of the Town Center Mall, Prime Minister Philip Davis suggested in an interview with Our News that the General Post Office may remain in that building until a new facility is built.
So far as the future for our new post office, that depends on what we find, the circumstances as to whether or not it will not be too costly to get out of the arrangement we are in. And in any event, we still have to be somewhere until we build another post office. So it may very well, out of necessity, we keep where we are and then move to do the new post office.
Last week, Transport and Housing Minister JoBeth Colby Davis tabled the 5-year lease in Parliament. It revealed that government is spending just over $820,000 a year to lease space in Town Center Mall, which is owned by former Cabinet Minister Brent Simonet and his brother. The lease expires in February 2024. The last Christie administration entered into a public-private partnership to construct the new General Post Office at the Independence Shopping Center opposite A.F. Adderley School. Davis was asked whether he intends to carry on with those plans.
We do have an arrangement with the Independence Shopping Center that we think is binding. That's a matter that's before the courts. I know the Attorney General and others are looking to see how best we could resolve it for the benefit of the Bahamian people and to ensure that the Bahamian people don't have to bear too much of the costs brought on by the decision of the previous government.
While in opposition, the Progressive Liberal Party accused then Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis of misleading the House of Assembly when the government sought its approval to lease the mall. The resolution stated that Brent Simonet had no involvement in discussions surrounding the lease, but Simonet later revealed that he and the Prime Minister had discussed the matter directly, including how much the rent would be. In 2019, Davis said the opposition had given instructions to Alfred Sears to explore the possibility of legal action. Reporting for our News, I'm Vonique Toot.
Well, dozens of Sandilands Rehabilitation Center workers protesting outside the facility today, claiming they did not receive the COVID-19 honorarium promised by the Minnis administration. Bahamas Public Service Union President Kimsley Ferguson says a number of departments were left out.
They put in place some criteria with regards to who qualifies. We know that Sandilands had a pandemic of its own, where by virtue of coming into this compound would qualify any individual for any honorarium given. And so we are hopeful this morning that this administration will look into this honorarium situation.
Ferguson says the Public Hospitals Authority advised the union that it has reached the last phase of payouts. Sandilands employees say they feel overlooked.
We were up and close and personal with everyone, and we were making sure the persons entering the compound had on their masks. So we did encounter a few persons without masks and so forth. So we were making this compound safe for others, putting ourselves at risk. And if that doesn't qualify us to receive the honorarium, I don't know what does.
Everybody behind me can say it's a new day. It's a new day. So I'm hopeful, and I'm praying, and I have confidence in this new government that things moving forward will be better.
Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville says he was advised of the situation, adding it is being reviewed.
We're reviewing that, and we realize that there's quite a few people, not only at the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center, but also at the Rand Memorial and some of our clinics that is affiliated or run by the PHA, and we're looking at it. And so we're asking everyone to just be level-headed. It's an issue that is ongoing. The first thing was basically to honor those whose names were on the list and then take into consideration the other individuals.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Up next, the health minister's warning to jet ski operators, and get caught up on Monday Night Football when our news returns.
Welcome to our news, and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is our news. Welcome back. Ahead of the November 15th reopening of the water sports industry, Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville is urging jet ski owners and operators to abide by new COVID safety rules to prevent tighter restrictions.
I'm asking you to abide by the rules. Your livelihood depends on it, because if we begin to see signs where we begin to find clusters of COVID-19 infections that through our contact tracing is tied into the water sport industry, there will be adjustments to the rules. And if we adjust the rules, it can affect your bottom line. So we are asking to be very vigilant.
During a seminar today, Minister of Transport JoBeth Colby Davis urged owners to register their watercraft, which weren't renewed while the industry was shut down. After being out of a job for over a year and a half, jet ski drivers and other water sports operators say they're happy to be back in business.
It's a relief. God sent the right man to change this environment, to catch us up, because a couple of us was falling right down. So
God is good, but God.
We anxious to get back to work.
Very excited, very happy. It's been a while. Glad to be back to it. It's not a good feeling, being unemployed, especially when you have kids and bills to pay.
Well, Buddy Hield and the Kings take a tough loss at home. Marcellus Hall has that and more tonight in sports.
Thanks a lot, Christina. Welcome to our Sports on a Monday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Well, you see the guy behind me. He was in action last night. Sacramento Kings at home, taking on a pretty tough opponent. Let's see exactly how it went down. Buddy Hield, Sacramento Kings, hosting the Indiana Pacers on Sunday. Pacers up by as many as 15 points. But Kings do mount a bit of a comeback. They make this a ball game. Indiana, though, they would get their first win in Sacramento since 2018. They hold on for the 94-91 victory. Buddy would log 31 minutes off the bench, finished with 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block, while shooting 5 of 12 from deep, including this big three-pointer at the buzzer to end the first quarter. Kings' next game is tonight. Guess what? They host DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns as they come to town. Meanwhile, Week 9 of the NFL season ends this evening with Monday Night Football action between the Chicago Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both teams playing out of the NFC North. Steelers sitting in second. They're at 4-3. Bears just behind at 3-5. They're currently in third in that very same division. So there's some implications on the line for that one. And there you have it. Your check on sports for you here on this Monday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Thanks, Marcellus. Up next, Greg is back with the extended forecast. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. There may be a few showers ahead. Greg is back in the Weather Center with the details.
Thanks again, Christina, and welcome everybody for your second look at weather on this beautiful Monday evening. Satellite view, we still have a weak front boundary across the southeast Bahamas, another one just to the north clipping the central Bahamas, both expected to merge over the next 24 hours and continue to push towards the south. Very strong ridge of high pressure across the southeastern United States. We'll be moving into our area that should keep us pretty nice for the next couple of days, though we are going to be warming up and the breeze will fall off. Because of a non-tropical low that's just to the north and off the eastern coast of the Carolinas, that the National Hurricane Center watching for the slow possibility for some formation over the next couple of days, but it has a very narrow window. We expect it to fizzle out in the open Atlantic. The remainder of the tropics quiet, and tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the next couple of days. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas. Advisory posted, very rough seas out there, 5 to 8. Across the southeast Bahamas, we have a caution flag for you guys. Northeast 10 to 15 north seas, 4 to 7. All due to some swells affecting the islands, so do exercise extreme caution out there. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Saturday. Starting to see a few fronts coming down. We expect another one by the weekend. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg, and thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.